Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and we are back again. It's been a little bit here. We've all got things going on. Doc had a trip. I had like a lot of stuff preparing for my tennis season, and we haven't managed to connect, but we're doing it tonight, and we're doing our album draft through the decade series with my good friend Sam St. John, aka Americana Sam, and my buddy Doc, my buddy from the North, and they're joining me for these top 10 albums for each decade. We started in the 60s and we're working our way through the 2010s. And this time we are diving headfirst into the 1990s, a decade where music was either angsty as hell or wildly overproduced or kind of both at the same time. We're sticking with our snake draft format, which means Sam tonight will have the first pick. Doc, you will get second, and I will have the honor of picking last and first in a subsequent round in a snake draft format. So, 90s had a little bit of everything. I was I told Doc a story earlier where I went from being just a DJ at a radio station to a station manager in about a span of about 5 months. So I was a station manager for an alternative station for all the beginning of the 90s and into the mid 90s. So it was a very interesting time for music. Grunge took over, hip hop was hitting its peak, pop punk and new metal were a thing. So it's really hard to tell which direction people are going to go here. There's so much variety of music. Sam gets the opening pick, so I don't know. Sam likes his singer songwriter guys. Maybe he'll go for that. Doc's a little heavier. Maybe he'll go for some of the grunge bands or metal bands that were in the 90s. It's really hard to tell. So one thing's for sure, the last decade where rock bands could actually be dangerous. Kurt Cobain made us feel like way too many types of emotions. Trent Reznor's album, Downward Spiral, sounded like he recorded it in a haunted factory. And Marilyn Manson scared the hell out of most suburban moms. So still managed to sell a lot of albums, though. So now it's your turn when we're done here to drop your comment down below. Tell us your top albums of the 90s. What would be your first pick? Like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss any of the episodes. And I say, let's jump right into it. Let's get drafting. Sam, you got the first overall pick in the 1990s.
All right, this was tough. It was definitely my smallest list when brainstorming for me. Because again, like you said, I'm singer-songwriter guys, preferably 70s, 60s. But there's some good stuff in the 90s. So I'm going to jump right in here. I've got to take this because last time we did this, I got screwed out of this gentleman. So I'm going to go with Wildflowers from Tom Petty.
Right, yeah. Really good pick. Solid album.
I'll let you play in your sandbox this time, Sam. I'll let you play in your sandbox this time.
Thank you. I need to. I need the stress relief. Yeah.
That's a good pick, and I would have scooped it up if you hadn't taken it, Sam.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It was
Doc, you got the second overall pick.
If it makes Sam feel any better, I wouldn't have taken it at number 2, but if it was still there on the way back down to me, buddy, it would have been gone. I think I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to take U2's Achtung Baby.
Achtung Baby.
With my first pick.
Excellent. There's a lot of debate about which is the best U2 album of all time. Is it the Joshua Tree or Achtung? A lot of people are swinging toward Achtung lately. It really is, a landmark album in the 90s.
Yeah. And I swing a little different, just on a side note, man. I'm a Rattle and Hum guy. You know that. So.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right.
But this is a smoking album.
I get the third overall pick, and you guys aren't going to be surprised that I'm going to take Automatic for the People here. I got to have my R.E.M. album, and this I think Sam would really appreciate this album as well. Obviously it's, very singer-songwriter, a lot of acoustic stuff and, different instrumentation and stuff. This is like them at their pinnacle. I think that once they hit here, that was as high as they were going to go for creativity, I think. And they kind of dropped off a little bit, especially after they lost their drummer, Bill Berry, in the late 90s. With the first pick in the second round and fourth overall pick, I'm going to take this, and Doc knows this, probably no surprise either. I'm going to take OK Computer by Radiohead. Yeah. Really the album that kind of changed the direction of alternative rock music going forward in the late 90s. And just a band that I think all their albums are just highly creative, and this one here is maybe their best album they've ever made. So I'll have that with that first pick in the second round. Doc, we're back to you.
Back to me. I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take Black Crowes, Shake Your Money Maker at number 2.
Ooh, Shake Your Money Maker.
Yeah.
Came out in 1990.
Right there, buddy. Right on the cusp.
It's right there. Excellent blend of blues rock, you know.
No, I don't know if it holds like it did back then now, but I mean, the list of tunes that came off that album is still smoking, man. You know, it's you get down to it, you know.
Yeah.
Talks to Angels or
Jealous Again.
Jealous Again, Hard to Handle. It's a great album, man. One of the better debuts, if you want the truth. But I'm gonna take it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Okay, Sam, you get some back-to-back here. Number 6 overall pick first.
All right. I mean, you kind of made a good point at the beginning of the intro. Like this was kind of like the last like hoorah for big rock bands. And then I mean, Shake Your Money Maker is probably one of those last big, rock debuts that actually meant something. But I'm going to go with one of those bands that kind of was keeping rock alive, and they're very polarizing. People love them or hate them. I happen to love them, and I'm going to go with their magnum opus, What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you see this, Sam, I'm taking it off my list.
Okay.
Yeah, really. I mean, this is like this was the album that was up against Blur for the Battle of the Britpop over in Britain.
Britpop.
Yeah, the sales were just astronomical for both records, you know.
I mean, this thing, you look at the thing, like if Oasis just played this album, people at a concert, people would go home happy that are Oasis fans, because you have the great song Hello, which they open with a ton. Obviously, Wonderwall is on here. Some might say Champagne Supernova, She's Electric, Don't Look Back in Anger, which kind of became a huge rallying cry after the big Manchester terrorist attack a few years ago. So I think it's one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time.
Nice.
So I got to go with it.
All right. Well, you get the 7th overall pick as well in the third round. So,
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick to kind of 90s centric band. So I'm not doing a legacy band right now like I did with Tom Petty. I'm gonna go with the Wallflowers, Bringing Down the Horse. Again, one of my favorite albums. Jacob Dylan at the helm, Bob's son, obviously, kind of this heartland rock, if you want to throw it into a category, but really pulled influences from Tom Petty and Springsteen. I mean, Mike Campbell's all over it. Fred Tackett from Little Feat plays on a couple tracks. And so you got the, 3 Marlenas, One Headlight, 6th Avenue Heartache, just big songs that were on alternative radio. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a big album there in the late 90s for sure. Really.
Yeah.
Sam?
All right. So
you can see it now, Sam. Yeah, I think that album is very good too, buddy, by the way. So yeah. I had that on my list pretty high, actually, if you want the truth.
Yeah, it's a great one.
All right, Doc.
The way it's going, maybe I'll just end up sticking in my wheelhouse more often. I don't know where this is going to go, but man, how do I do this? I'm going to take Siamese Dream from Smash It.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. Honestly. Siamese Dream, Billy Corgan. I mean, he's been on podcasts a lot lately, kind of spouting off that he thought he was the best grunge artist left after Kirk's suicide.
Really?
Wow.
I was like, that's kind of a bold statement to make, considering that Chris was still around and Eddie Vedder was still there, and it's, I don't know,
ballsy.
That's a little ballsy to say, but Billy's a little bit like that. So
yeah, he's like that. He's a little bit. He's a quirky kind of dude, is what I'd say, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But, this album's smoking, man. This album is smoking.
Yeah, I can't deny the album. Yeah. All right. I got a back-to-back again. I got the 9th overall pick. I'm going to go ahead and take 10 by Pearl Jam. Right?
Yeah.
I like this better than Nevermind. I know that, a lot of people could give me a whole lot of crap for that. For some reason, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot more songs on here that I can connect to a little bit more rocking in the way that I would like it. And and it holds up today. I could play that whole album even today. Tracks like Black and Garden, kind of the underrated tracks that weren't out on the radio, really solid. With the 10th pick and the first pick in the fourth round, I'm going to go ahead and take the Black Album from Metallica. This is the album that, of course, made Metallica a household name. Most people, there were some fans, obviously, for Metallica coming up to this, but all of a sudden, America loved Metallica after the release of this album, with the release of the single Enter Sandman and the music video on MTV. So, so I got Metallica. And we're back to Doc with the 11th pick.
Man. All right, I'm going to take The Division Bell by Floyd.
Wow.
There we go.
Yep.
Good pick. I was wondering if you're going to pull a trigger on the Floyd.
Yeah, I have a few in my head that I'm looking at, but that's a few things I'm looking at around the Floyd names. But yeah, it's it grew on me as years go on, and we had a conversation maybe a couple of years about it, a couple of years ago on the album, about where I thought of it at the time, and I think a lot more of it now than I did then. Probably the right way to say it.
High Hopes is great.
High Hopes, Take It Back.
Yeah.
Maroon. Yeah, there's some really good songs on here, man.
Excellent. Sam, you got the 12th overall pick, buddy.
All right, I'm trying to play this strategically, figure out where y'all might head. I'm going to go. I don't think either one of you would head here, but I'm just going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to go with, other than his debut, I think this is my favorite album by this guy, and that is from 1999, Mule Variations by Tom Waits.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big one. It was kind of a return to form, though I don't think he ever really lost form, and Tom Waits is not exactly known to be stagnant. But this has like great songs like Hold On, which I think was used in The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Come On Up to the House, which has been a huge it's kind of like a gospel-y song. Several artists have covered it in the Americana world, but then you've got weird Tom Waits, like his spoken word. What's he building in there? Is like this mad scientist in a basement building something, and he's like a passerby. So it's got the weird sound effects and stuff you'd expect from later day Tom Waits, but it's a fantastic record. So I'm going to go there for my number 4 pick.
Yeah, the critics love that album, and a lot of artists. When you look at artists, especially in the 2000s, that were listing albums that were influences, a lot of them list Mule Variations. So
yep.
You also get the 13th pick there, Sam. First pick in the 5th round.
All right, I'm going to go with what I think has become. I did this with Rich when we were talking about our favorite. We were ranking this guy's catalog, and I'm going to go with Into the Great Wide Open. I'm going to go with another Tom Petty because I don't want Doc to take it if he was thinking about it. But I love the production. It was kind of a follow-up to Full Moon Fever, except this time he has all the Heartbreakers. Jeff Lynne produced it. Great breezy kind of songs. Obviously Into the Great Wide Open,
right.
Learning to Fly, which was one of his biggest songs ever.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Pink Floyd, Doc.
No.
And then he's got stuff like King's Highway or All the Wrong Reasons, which is like this acoustic-y 12-string jangle stuff. So it's a great record. So I've got to take the other Tom Petty album.
There you go. All right. Yeah. Doc, you got that second pick in the 5th round.
Oh man, yeah, I did. I did have that on my list too, by the way. So, I guess I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna take Throwing Copper from Live. I'm gonna do it now.
Which one?
Throwing Copper.
Throwing Copper. Live's album. Massive songs, hits on there. Lightning Crashes.
Iris, All Over You. I Alone.
Big music videos. White Discussion was a great, track that most people didn't catch on to.
That's a great album, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's got 90s written all over it, man. That's what.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
Thank you.
All right. I got the 15th overall pick and the 16th overall pick. I'm gonna take my first hip hop album of this. I'm gonna take The Chronic from Dr. Dre.
Mm,
Big hit rap album there that kind of set the tone for gangster rap going forward. Introduction of Snoop Doggy Dogg to the world on several tracks that with music videos. Um, just absolutely a great album. And Dr. Dre went on to be an even better producer for acts like Exhibit and Eminem and bands, guys like that. So, um, and with the 16th pick, I'm gonna take Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh,
very nice.
Really a very consistent record all the way through. I think Rick Rubin produces this record. I could have got some really deep cuts like I Could Have Lied on top of the big hits that they have, like Give It Away and Under the Bridge. But the album is solid through and through. The bass playing by Flea, right on top of it. Chad Smith is your drummer, right? Did an excellent job on it. Can't say enough good things about it. So, and Doc, we're back to you with a 17th overall pick.
back to me. As I debate in my head which way to actually go. So I guess I'm just going to go with Soundgarden Super Unknown.
Yeah. I think I had that on there marked off as something you would take for sure. For sure. Massively big record, as you know. With
I'm looking at my top 6 here, but I'm thinking, yeah, this looks like me. That's all I can tell you. So.
Yeah, Black Hole Sun, massive hit. Massive.
Great tune, man. Yeah. Smooth, man. Classic, too.
Yeah.
I sang
Hell on Black Days was on there, right?
That's a great album, man.
Yeah.
Chris has a voice, man, just meant for this kind of music. So that's perfect. What a voice, too. Cool.
All right, Sam, 18th overall and 19th overall pick.
All right, I think I'm pretty safe now with everything else I have. I'm gonna go with I got to go with my token Van Morrison album, and I'm gonna go with Hymns to the Silence from 1991. Huge, a double album, very poetic. It's kind of got a very Irish feel to it. But he did a song on there called "I'm Not Feeling It Anymore," which Tom Jones had a fairly minor hit with, I believe, in the 90s, and they actually duetted a couple times on it. He does, By His Grace, Why Must I Always Explain, which is kind of like a critique to the critics, like, why do I have to explain my art all the time? Just a really good album. The lyrics are great. It doesn't feel like a double album to me. I don't feel like there's filler. It's Van's in great voice, and it's just a really well-made album. So I'm going to go with Hymns to the Silence for my number 6.
Excellent. And for your seventh pick and 19th overall pick?
I'm going to go with Time Out of Mind.
Yeah, Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan?
Yeah. I've got to go with the Dylan pick. Obviously, again, this came after a long period of just kind of critics scratching their heads at Dylan. I mean, he had, the mid 80s was pretty weak. He kind of rebounded with Oh Mercy in 89. And then in the 90s, he did Under the Blood Red Sky, which is kind of a weird, hodgepodge album with a bunch of guest stars that didn't make it work. And then he did 2 kind of folk albums in the early 90s. And then he took a few years off and then comes back with this, produced by Daniel Lanois, who had done Oh Mercy. And it's got some like cool effects on it, and just a really, really solid album. It was actually kind of the album that, made him come back into this new resurgence that he's still in. So that's my number 7.
Nice. All right. So Doc, 20th overall pick belongs to you, my man.
So this will be my number 7, right?
It is.
I got 4 to go. Do I do it now? I'm going to take Van Halen's for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
You don't even want to know how I abbreviated that when I wrote it off.
Oh yeah, everyone did. You do it, but yeah, spell something. But But I think it doesn't get talked about a lot in the Van Halen catalog and stuff like that. But, Pound Cake right here, right now,
Right.
and stuff like that. Run Around. It's a pretty smooth album, man. Top of the world. They're catchy. It's Sammy. It's Van Halen, but they still got the guitar of Eddie, man. It's the 90s. Yeah.
All right, that's a good pick. I remember when it came out. All right, I got the 21st overall pick. Doc, I'm really surprised you didn't take this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to take the Bends. Radiohead as well. Maybe their most accessible. If I was introducing someone to Radiohead, I definitely would start here. It's a good rock album.
Yeah.
It's got My Iron Lung on there, and Street Spirits, Planet Telex. Great tunes like Fake Plastic Trees and High and Dry. Just a fabulous record overall. That's my 21st pick. The 22nd overall, 21st overall pick. For 22nd overall pick, now it's getting a little tricky. I'm gonna take Grace by Jeff Buckley. You kind of slow that pace down a little bit. Obviously, real tragedy that this was like the album that he got to release before his untimely death. I know that Elizabeth Fraser was struck so hard by his death that she was working on an album with Massive Attack, and she ended up writing the song Teardrop after she learned that he had passed away. But his version of Hallelujah, I dare say on a given day, I like it better than Leonard Cohen's. Maybe it bounces back and forth depending on the mood I'm in, but it's one of the best covers of all time, I have to think. So, and it's always on TV. Every time there's a sad moment on a TV show, they're playing Hallelujah. So, back to you, Doc.
Well, I'm just going to take it, so it's on my list. I lost out on the Bends, but I thought, I might have had a chance at that one later on here, but obviously I didn't. So I'll just take my Collective Soul, the Blue Album. We'll call it their second album in their catalog, but that Dosage right there was 1-2 for me. But
right,
Hits and Allegations and all that was the start for me. But I've been with them all since the beginning, so it doesn't matter. But this album is peak for me. The World I Know, December, Smashing Young Man.
I think that when I saw them in concert, I think they performed 5 songs off of this album.
Yeah, sure.
Of the 12 that they have, 5 of them were on this one. Yeah.
So it's a biggie for me.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. I knew a Collective Soul was coming. Now we're to Sam, and he gets back-to-back picks, 24th and 25th overall.
All right. I'm gonna go with an album that I just discovered 2 or 3 years ago. It's not well known, but I recommend anybody that likes power pop or anything like that, Big Star. It's an album called Teenage Symphonies to God by Velvet Crush. Heavily influenced by Big Star. I think Jody Stevens might play on a track on drums. They do a Gene Clark cover on this, but if you like that jingle jangle harmony, 3-minute pop song, 33-minute record, it's beautiful. Teenage Symphonies to God, which is obviously named after it's a Beach Boys reference, referring to the Smile album. So I'm gonna go with that. And then number 9, I've got to go with my man John Prine. His album from 1991 called The Missing Years has a lot of his big songs on there that were live staples up until the end, like All the Best, which is a fantastic song about his divorce that he had just gone through. I play it live myself. Picture Show is a great tune. I think that might have been co-written with Tom Petty. No, that was a different song, sorry. But it's a Big Old Goofy World. It's another John Prine song. Jesus, The Missing Years, Everything is Cool. Just really, really fun songs. It was a great start to the 90s for Prine. So that's where I'm going.
A very good pick, singer-songwriter. And Doc, back to you, 26th overall pick.
Coming back to me, 26. Well, I'm going to go with probably, I would just do Fully Completely from Tragically Hip.
Ah, yeah.
Uh,
The best hip album, you think?
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Courage, We King. It's loaded, man. 15
Locked in the
different
trunk of a
locked in the
car.
trunk of a car. Loads of songs on there. I don't think you've done a dive on them, Sam. I don't recall. I don't think you have.
No.
You should check out that album, man. That's
Yeah.
what I can tell you. It's right in your
Check out
wheelhouse, man.
the Tragically Hip period. Everybody's check out.
So
Yeah.
send me a couple songs sometime so I can kind of get my
Wheat Kings, I think you should start them on.
That's what I'll send. I'll send him that tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, do that.
All right. Is it to me again?
It is to you.
All right. All right. Looking at my list here, there's a lot of cross-offs here. I think I'm going to take Dookie from Green Day.
Yeah.
A little bit of get my punk fix.
Yeah.
Even
I had it on my list, buddy.
Punk,
yeah.
you know, you throw that in there a little bit. It was a massive, massive hit. Billy Joe Armstrong, of course, became the face of punk music going, you know, from this point forward. They had a lot of subsequent albums that were just as successful too. Even had a Broadway musical, right? For was it 21st Century Breakdown or was it the American Idiot? One of them.
I think both had a play.
They both had a play. That's how popular these guys got. So.
Yeah.
And with my last pick that I get, I got to make this one count, huh? Honestly, I guess I'm not going to pass on Nevermind. You know, I figured everybody talks about the album. I'll go ahead and take it with my 10th pick. I honestly like the B side of Nevermind more than I like the A side, and that's, you know, because I love Something in the Way. I think it's a really great tune, but it's an important album, very influential, and I don't mind it. I mean, I do prefer 10 over it, but you know, not by a mile or anything. So, Doc, this is it, buddy.
That's it. So I won't pick any more Collective Soul or anything else like that. I could have easy. I can do that. Tell you that right now. I could have done that, but I'm down to 2 in my head, and I think I might just go with my Guilty Pleasure album. So I might just pick that. So I'm going to pick Porter Graffiti from Extreme.
Ooh.
If you don't like what you see here, just get the funk out. Okay. Yeah. I think the first half of that, it's glitteryish, polished rock. But I have a real soft spot for that first half of that album, man. I could play that over and over, man, and it still kicks to me.
Yeah, really Wholehearted was the big hit.
Wholehearted was a monster. There's another one on there too. More Than Words.
More Than Words.
The 2 big songs, I guess.
Yeah.
The Decadent Dance and Get the Funk Out and When I'm President and stuff like that. There's some good songs on there, man. So a bit deeper cuts, but that's my pick.
That's surprise. All right, that surprises me. You kind of let an album that I'll let you mention in your honorable mentions kind of go by the wayside that I didn't think. Yeah, I thought you would take here, but it's fine.
Yeah. I went with my Guilty Pleasure. I think that's what I did.
Sam, last pick, buddy.
All right. Well, I guess this will technically be the. Well, I mean, you picked Jeff Buckley, Grace. I was going to say this will be the only time that a full discography has been picked because I picked the other album in the 80s, but I'm going to go with Traveling Wilburys Volume 3 on this. Again, the weaker of the 2 albums, and it's an album that I kind of threw away when I was in middle school getting into the first one. But this one obviously came out after Roy Orbison passed away, but it's got some great rockers like She's My Baby, which is kind of grungy Wilburys. Mm-hmm. And then they do like a fun kind of dance tune at the end, the Wilbury Twist, which has a fun music video. John Candy shows up briefly at the beginning, but also some really cool songs like, you know, a really pretty song by Jeff Lynne called Where to Go? New Blue Moon, which is kind of this whole, like, it's all the guys singing in harmony together. Another great one is You Took My Breath Away, which is Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne. Petty does like this really funny song called Cool Draw Place, which is about putting your instruments away and not letting them, you know, get all messed up on the road. But really good stuff on here that's kind of overlooked by that first album. But that's my number 10.
Wow. Excellent job. So, with all that said, give me a couple of your guys' honorable mentions that, you know, you just couldn't pick because we only picked 10 albums. You know, 3 to 5. Give me 3 to 5.
Go ahead, Tim.
What's funny? Well, first of all, this is the first list I didn't have any scratched off because of you two. But one of the ones I have was from 1991, Rhythm of the Saints by Paul Simon.
Oh yeah,
Which was his follow-up. It had The Obvious Child on there, which is a great tune. I had Flaming Pie by Paul McCartney from '94,
that's a good
which
album.
was also produced by Jeff Lynne around the anthology time. And the only other one that I had written down that I didn't pick was Yourself or Someone Like You by Matchbox 20. I have a soft spot for Rob Thomas, but
yeah, nice.
So those are the three that I had left.
Nice. Doc, what about you? I'm going to guess one. You tell me whether it's true or not. You didn't pick Muse to Death by Roger Waters.
No, it's right there. But I say that's why I said my debate in my head was, do I put it on there or do I do the Division Bell? So I went Division.
Right.
Just a little bit more accessible kind of music, right? You got to be in the mood for Roger sometimes, and I love Muse to death. So don't get me wrong. So, Jagged Little Pill was on my list.
Right.
I did have some other Collective Souls. Dosage, I think is a smoking album too, if you want the truth. I like Yield from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
More stuff up here. Clumsy from Our Lady Peace, Canadian side of things. Recovery of the Satellites is pretty good. Innuendo from Queen's a pretty good album. I like that album too, actually.
Yeah.
But those would probably be the ones. The Colored Simple, even from Foo, is pretty good, actually. Foo Fighters.
I had Mezzanine from Massive Attack. That's my trip hop album. I had August and Everything After.
Yeah, it's a good album too.
Yeah,
I'm like, I feel really bad about not taking that. Violator from Depeche Mode. Yeah, probably one of their bigger ones. I have Exile to Guyville from Liz Phair, kind of a lo-fi rock record. It's basically considered a track for track of response to Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. And I really enjoy that album. And considered the biggest Britpop album of all time, Different Class by the band Pulp. That has People on it and Disco 2000 are both on there. But, those are ones I'd love to take if we were taking more than 10, but we only can take 10. Yeah. So
I'm actually surprised, Sam, you never had. I thought you might have taken Cracked Rear Window, Cracked Rear View there from
Hootie.
I've thought about it, but I've actually never listened to every track on that album. I know a lot of it, but it would have been an honorable mention if y'all would have taken some of these. I was thinking maybe the petty ones would have gone, and maybe Oasis, but the rest of them I felt pretty good about locking in.
Yeah.
So.
And I should mention there, I did have Purple from STP on my list too, so I should say that.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, thanks guys for doing this. I appreciate it. We're going to continue this on. I appreciate everyone who's been watching and keeping up with the videos. Please like, sub, and comment, and please give us your top 10 down below. Maybe even tell us which top 10 that you like the best, and I'll give you a hint. The name begins with B. That way you guys know which way to go with that. So until next time, I really appreciate everyone watching, and take care. We'll see you in the 2000s. Bye-bye.
Bye.